Hello and welcome back to Questions. This question comes from Brady Y in Miss Reagan's class at Gatlinburg-Pitkin Junior High. The question is, how do you think the riots will affect COVID cases since most rioters were not wearing masks? Dr. Bourdeaux?
The rioters and the insurgents at the Capitol building last week, that's correct. They were not all wearing masks, and they did not seem particularly concerned about COVID spread. I think that from just a purely public health standpoint, we got to go back to those three C's, right? Crowded places, close contacts, closed spaces. All three of those things were present, in the Capitol. Crowded people close together in closed spaces. So yes, we can expect a rise in cases amongst those folks. I think the other thing that happened is that folks, when they took shelter, a lot of the members of Congress were in a safe room together, and the Republican members, some of them refused to wear masks. And it looks like that actually is a super spreading event, where now three of the Democratic members of Congress who were sheltering in place with those individuals have tested positive. So I think that is unfortunate, and that is what happened. I think there is a third thing, way that COVID is interacting with this event, which is that I am very curious about the effect of prolonged social distancing and isolation in terms of how people understand what's happening to them and how much they're going online to understand the world, and whether that public health technique of keeping people away from each other and at home and online more, actually contributed to radicalization of some of the folks that were present last week in the Capitol building.
I mean, not much to add to that, except for it wasn't good, right? Any event like that is intense, in which people are not wearing masks. It was also violent and physical. But this point that Margaret makes, I think is really important, and I had not really thought about it that way, which is and this, I guess, is getting to other points. So, there's this radicalized element that is a very small proportion of the president's supporters, but were they very violent. And to what extent that Trump's own behavior in terms of dealing with COVID helped grease the runway for the very insurrection that he essentially helped lead. I think that's a great query if it weren't real.